Strike one in there to Keith Torres out of Sacramento State as he leads things off here for the Big Train in the top of the third rather. Top of the order due up next with Riley Johnson, the center fielder, on deck. 1-1 now to Torres after a ball in there. As Vest, after an RBI pop fly, dropped to center field. Now back on and working a 1-2 count on Torres. So we're joined up here in the Dandy Walker Lions broadcast booth as Torres gets a piece of that one, topping it behind via the catcher. Speaking of catchers, we're joined up here by Grant Knipp out of the University of Alabama. Grant, thanks for coming up here.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. First of all, just tell me about your journey to the Big Train as Torres flies this one beautifully fielded by Spraglott at third. Hot grab there as he flips it over to Tarkenton, who scoops it up for out number one. First of all, just tell us about your journey, how you got from down south in Tuscaloosa up here to Bethesda.
Yeah, so our pitching coach down in Alabama, Jason Jackson's actually pretty close friends with Sal, and so he got me hooked up with Sal, and Sal gave me a call and asked me if I want to come play for Big Train, and I gave it a shot, and I'm here.
Riley Johnson out of East Carolina, step into the box now. Center fielder, grounded out to Vandenberg at second, his first time up. Now, of course, you mentioned the pitching coach at Alabama. The primary connection there is Johnson taps this one off of his foot. Foul called, I believe. Yep. You mentioned the pitching coach connection down there. Of course, a couple of tied pitchers up here with you. Jake Eddington, who's on the mound today. Brock Guffey. I mean, what's the relationship been like with them, being able to come up here and, work with your teammates, but also, having to experiment with new battery mates that you're maybe not as familiar with in such a short time?
Right. It's always awesome to get to catch those guys. I mean, they're really good pitchers, and then they're just good guys in general, so it's always good to catch them and get a better relationship with them on the mound and even off the field. And then coming in catching these other guys, it's always hard to catch a new guy to get to start, but once you get catching them, it starts getting easier and easier, so it's been nice to catch those guys as well.
1-2 to Johnson, or 1-1. Now it's 1-2 to Johnson as he takes a bender in there. 2-2, thank you. Being corrected off screen here. Always good. I mean, you talked about that. Is there somebody on this team, as Johnson sends this one deep towards center, right center, coming in is Bandora for out number two. Is there somebody on this team that you maybe don't enjoy catching as much just because, either they have really good breaking stuff that's a little bit harder, a little bit more of a challenge, or maybe your hand just hurts a little bit afterwards?
No, I wouldn't say any of the guys don't enjoy catching. I've always enjoyed catching, so I enjoy getting back there and be able to catch whoever it is. So it's always nice just to be able to catch those guys.
Absolutely. As in now is, what a play there. Danny Nerai swung at the first pitch and lined it straight to Cam Bufford at shortstop. So, Grant, our time here is a little bit short. We'll come back with you in the bottom of this inning.
Yes,
but for now, it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Big Train in the bottom of the third. Still 1-0 DC, middle of the third inning. Bottom of the third here. And leading off will be Scott Bandora. Ben Avila grounded out to end the second. So top of the order here. Thank you, Grant. So we're back with Grant Knipp here in the Dandy Walker Alliance broadcast booth. Lefty Bandora struck out his first time up. Give us the scouting report on Eddington out there. We've seen the strikeout stuff so far, but obviously, as we talked about before, you're familiar with him. What to look out for here?
Right. Well, first off, he's got a great fastball, really live arm, and his slider, very good slider, very hard slider, moves a lot. And so those really right now are his two main pitches. He's been working on a changeup, but those, especially that slider, you got to watch out for that slider, especially as a lefty going towards that back foot.
Absolutely. I think we might have seen it there on the first pitch. 1-1 now from the righty Eddington as he goes into that windup. Now for you, obviously we talked about kind of the challenges as a catcher and pitcher relationship, but overall as a team, what's it like? I mean, you guys showed up here almost 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, had one day of batting practice, and you're basically straight into games. What's that challenge like for you and for the team overall? As big swing and miss there.
Oh, I think it's not really that huge of a challenge, just because I feel like growing up playing summer ball, it's always been like that. It's always kind of like you show up and you just play. So getting to play with these guys, it's been a lot of fun, and I feel like all the guys like each other, so we all get along and have fun together and just play the game.
Lined up the left side of the infield there, just past the outstretched glove of Keith Torres, and in for a single for Bandora. So another leadoff batter aboard here for Patrick Vandenberg, the second baseman. Now, is there a guy that maybe when they're taking batting practice or when they're up at bat and you're, either on the base or in the dugout, that particularly catches your attention and you got to kind of stop and watch here as Vandenberg shows bunt, then pulls it back to take ball one?
So I've always Kemp Alderman. So
yeah, that's the obvious answer.
Right. So we've played against each other, and the very first time I ever saw him play, I'm actually sitting back there catching, and the very first pitch to him.
As Nerai with a good throw. Ooh, close there.
So the very first pitch to him was actually we were playing in Arizona, and he hit a ball that hit the top of the wall in dead center, and it was 410 dead center. So I was like, oh, this kid has some juice. And then when I found out I was playing with him here, and he showed up the first day and started hitting some tanks in BP, I was like, oh, this kid still has a lot of juice here.
He's really, you just got to stop and stare sometimes. I think that one down in Lorton, his first homer here, I think that one went about 400. It's tough to tell without the actual data, but
right.
You always got to estimate.
Right, that ball disappeared.
Yeah, it disappeared real quick.
Right.
On a play like that, short throw, pretty good throw, looked like it was at least on line to get Bandora. Is it tough to tell if you actually got him? I mean, here there's no replay. It's always hard to actually tell. But what's that like for you behind the dish when you're trying to throw out a runner?
For us, we can really only tell if the throw beats him or not. So, I mean, it's hard. If the throw beats him, more than likely we think he's out, but the runner could get around the tag. Or if there's no tag, sometimes that happens as well.
Interesting. As this one put way high in the air and way out of play towards the off the Park Police barn back there. Now, for you, coming out of Louisville, I noticed you have a little bit of a shoe company up and running on Instagram.
I do.
Big sneakerhead?
I am, yes.
Do you have a particular favorite, one that is kind of a go-to for you?
Right now I'm really hooked on the Dunk Lows. So.
Okay. As it's a walk here to Vandenberg, so first and second. Double play back on with no outs for Peter Costigan here in the bottom of the third. You ever get jealous of the guys in the bullpen there, just getting to hang out a little bit?
Those guys are different, I'll tell you that. There's something else. I've got to go down there a few games when I get days off like this, and they are something different, that is for sure.
Last time we were here, Tyler really likes to tell this story, so since he's off headset right now, I'll do it for him. Last time we were here, Zach Locke was in the mound. Jesse was not warming up yet, but he had a laser pointer, and you could see pretty easily up from there.
Right.
And so he had it shining on us, and we were kind of chastising him a little bit here as Costigan shows bunt, squirts away from Nerai, but runners will hold it first and second. And then we look away, trying to check back on the game. We look back, and someone, I don't know who it was, had thrown a mitt at Jesse's nether regions, and he was down on the ground, hurting a little bit. So you can tell, I mean, from here it's probably the best angle we got, but you can always tell that there's some characters out there.
Right, that is for sure.
What about in the dugout? Any characters down there? We've heard some good things about Rocco.
Oh, Rocco, he's definitely a funny dude, definitely a funny guy to be around.
Heard he's not a guy to be crossed, though.
Oh, yeah, he's got a short temper, that's for sure.
As this one is chopped off the front of the batter's box there and foul again. 1-0 here, no outs, bottom of the third. DC potentially looking to move some runners forward, add a couple more. But Jake Eddington out of Alabama, teammate of Grant Knipp up here with us, looking to hold them right there. For you, when did you know that baseball was it? I mean, how early? As the runner goes down to third, Nerai will fire over to second in time to get the first out. Over to third goes Bandora. Vandenberg caught trying to steal on the double. I mean, first of all, before we get to that question, is that a tough decision? I mean, when there's a double steal, you're always trying to get the guy at second just because maybe a little bit more time?
Yes, it also just depends on, you got to see who your runners are. Like, so for instance, that guy, he's pretty quick, so the guy on first. So we want to, on that play, you want to get and he got a great jump as well. So the kid behind is kind of timing off the guy at second. So you kind of have more time to get the kid at second.
Okay. And so back to the other question as Eddington comes set again here. 1 out and a 3-2 count on Tarkenton, and he punches him out. 5th strikeout of the day, and Jay Tarkenton for the 2nd time tonight goes down looking. As a catcher, well, I promise we'll get back to the original question in a bit, but we asked the pitchers, right, whether they like strikeouts looking or swinging better. As the catcher, do you have an opinion? And as a batter, is there one that's maybe a little bit more frustrating to you?
Catching, I would say I like, I'd say probably looking.
Is it looking because you know, like, you called the right pitch, you got him in the right spot?
Right. And then hitting, looking, I don't really like that one. It's like it's kind of like growing up, it was always, like my dad would always say, like, I'm okay with you striking out, just don't strike out looking.
Yeah. Peter Costigan, a chance to do either here as he works himself into an 0-2 hole here, with Eddington looking to hold that lone runner on base now. Bandura at third, 2 outs, no runs across in this inning. And he gets a fly ball to right. Alderman over towards the line, hustling over, but letting that one bounce off a support net pole and back down into play. He'll stay 0-2. What are you looking for here from Jake?
Yeah, 0-2. May go fastball up here, but it looks like we're going to go slider away. Yep.
Slider away, just a little bit low. So 1-2. I mean, that's something you'll take, right, when you have a little bit ball to work with.
Right, with a lively arm like
trying to get him a chase.
Fastball up is always a pitch that he can go to.
There it is. Beautiful pitch in there on the 1-2 count, and it's back-to-back strikeouts looking for DC batters. They get one on base all the way to third, but can't bring him home. No runs in that inning. Grant, thanks for joining us up here. Thanks for the chat.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Of course. For now, we'll take a pause for a word from our sponsor.